Hey everybody. I read in a book recently, they said that disengagement is the worst form of betrayal. And you know what? I don't disagree with that. Because I think when you have an amazing relationship and you let it wither on the vine, you're making a choice to step away. You're losing interest, lacking interest in your partner. And it's like you don't even care enough to engage with them. And that makes people feel undervalued, underappreciated, unlovable. I mean, there's so many things that come with that. When in actual fact, if it's really just disengagement, it's so easy to avoid, right? And I see that with couples so often. They are caught up in their lives. They're not spending the time with each other. They're not taking the time to have those conversations, not deep, heavy conversations, just regular conversations, right? One of the examples I always use is, your partner goes to work all day, comes home, and you say, "How's your day?" They say, "Fine," that's it, right? That's not a question, that's not a conversation, that's politeness and pleasantries and disengagement. But alternatively, "Hey, how's your day today? Did you get that contract you were bidding on? Did you have problems with your manager like you were having last week?" Asking specific questions related to them and what they did during the day, and then having a discussion. That shows that you're interested and you're engaged, and it doesn't have to take hours to do it, right? You can do it in 10 or 15 minutes like that. Just get that connection going. Not disengaged, but engaged, right? And I think that so many of us, there's excuses. "Oh, well, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that." And next thing you know, what they do have time for is going to a lawyer to get a divorce because they have let their relationship die. And one thing that I find I always do that I think is important is always making an effort for the other person, right? This is a simple form of engagement, but it can be powerful. When a couple has dinner together every night, right? You cook the dinner, you put it on a plate, throw it in front of them. "Thanks very much, have a nice day." There's no effort, there's no engagement there. It's simply nourishment. Nourishment is good, but can't we make nourishment a little more? So I was talking in a group today. I have a little thing about presentation dishes, right? I love my presentation dishes. And when I first met Billy would say, "Why are you bothering to put it on a fancy plate? It's just me." But every time I put something on a fancy plate for him, I'm signaling that it's not just him, that he's important, that he matters, that I want him to find what I'm giving him visually appealing. I want him to feel like he's special, like he's worth using a nicer dish. Don't put the sour cream container on the counter with the spoon in it. Take it out and put it in one of my nice little dishes, which I do all the time, right? A little here with a nice spoon. And these little steps help engagement. And I just think that there's nothing wrong. I know there's nothing wrong with signaling to your husband or your wife that they matter, that you care what they think, that you want to take the time to do something special for them. And I think that this is the best way to avoid that disengagement. And maybe you're disengaging from yourself and you're putting it in a plate or you're not putting it on a plate because you don't care, given up, it doesn't matter anymore. But it does, it always, always matters. Because when we have a relationship, we want this relationship to last. This isn't just a sort of temporary thing. The kids may be young, we may be busy, but when the kids get older and move out, or the business gets situated, or we retire, or however you want to look at it, our partner is the person that we're spending the time with. We're growing old with it, we're doing things with. And so if we don't maintain that relationship, then by the time we get to the point where we've got the time to spend with them, our relationship is shit because it's withered on the vine, because we haven't put any intention, any effort into it, and there's nothing there. And I see that happen so often. Obviously, I'm the relationship chef, and relationships are important to me. But just remember that disengagement is, in fact, a betrayal of sorts. Disengagement means that you don't care, that you've given up and you've walked away from your relationship. So don't be disengaged. Find little ways, like putting something on a nice plate and saying, you know what, I made an effort because we are important, because you are important, because this meal, this time that we're sharing together is important. When you start taking that shit for granted, that's when things start sliding, and you don't want that to happen. So don't become disengaged. Make concerted efforts to engage. It takes 5 or 10 minutes a day, 10 or 15, whatever. It takes very little time every day to keep that bond and to keep yourself engaged. And if your partner's become disengaged, then maybe it's time to get their attention back and say, hey, look at me. Let's pick up where we left off. It's not too late. And every step you take towards engagement, towards connection, towards showing them that they are important and you see them, is a step towards happiness and fulfillment. And that's all I want for you guys. I'm Krista, the relationship chef. I am here to help you with cooking, with relationships, and anything you want. Join me in my school community called The Relationship Chef. If you would like to have some more information on my offers, I'd love to talk to you. Drop a DM in. Let's have a chat.